Welcome to the Barker Podcast Collection.
Welcome to the Not Watching Podcast. My name's Rob Howard, and today I'm joined by
Marcus Hurley.
Yeah, so it's been a few weeks, but we're back once again recording, and we are going to talk about some telly news. Just one story, and
The story.
The story, yeah. I mean, well, yeah, because there hasn't really been a lot going on, has there, as far as like TV news and all that. But yeah, Neil Gaiman dropped yesterday while I was on my way home from Devon, because that's a thing you can do now, that there is going to be a second season of Good Omens, which is the show that he was behind based on the book that he and the late Terry Pratchett wrote. There obviously has been a bit of internet nonsense going on around this.
Yeah, it's the basic response of going, oh my god, how can there be a second season? Don't ruin it like American Gods. Rah, 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 rah. How can he make up stuff? How can he just make up stuff? And you think, that's how authors work.
Yeah, it was quite... after someone put a comment up saying, but there is no second book. You're just going to make it up, aren't you? And he went, well, yeah, that's kind of how we did the first one. Apparently, it was always Terry's intention to do more, but sadly, he died before they were able to. So I think this is him and...
Well, more importantly, I read the entire... Because he put the entire blog dedicated to this. So if anyone had any issues, they could read the context.
It's quite a wordy.
Well, I actually
article,
did read it all, and it turns out that during a convention, back before Terry Pratchett started earning actual money, and they were basically just slumming it in a hotel room, a shared hotel room. They actually both had jet lag. I think Neil Gaiman went to the bar and just chatting till late, and Terry Pratchett had jet lag. And then when they both met back up at the hotel room, they fleshed out a sequel to Good Omens. And they said they both never forgot it. It's been in both their heads for the entirety, but they never got around to writing it. So this isn't something that he's going to go off on his own. It's, once again, something of both their making. It was just never realised in any form other than... And due to the detailed nature of their worlds, I completely trust that there is more than enough detail. In fact, he said that the angels from the first season were taken from the sequel because they were an addition to it. So, because a lot of people said, oh, it's a bit different. Why are they in there? They were actually taken from the idea of the second because they don't feature in the book. There isn't a whole bunch of angels going after them. So more importantly than this just being sort of TV news, this is actually cross-media sort of mind-blowing. This is the sequel to Good Omens in any format. This is, this is crazy. This is like, I don't know what... But yeah, this is insane. When I first read, because you messaged it, you sent it to me, and I was like, "You what?" And I went and read the entire thing.
Yeah,
I was gobsmacked, genuinely gobsmacked. So I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, it looks like a lot of the team that worked on the first one are coming back. I mean, because I was quite lucky. I went to South by Southwest the year that they were sort of really pushing this really hard. You know, like they were doing a lot of promotion around the show at the time, and I was able to. I was like at a panel with some of the stars and Neil Gaiman himself. He seemed very much like his sort of attitude was that like he'd found the whole thing quite exhausting.
Yeah. It's
compared to what he usually does as a writer.
Yeah, it's because he kept having to go against the studios, and when he realised all the interference that happens, and the reason why things get watered down, and he probably didn't want what happened to American Gods to happen to it. So you get a lot of committee decisions come in and stuff, and he was just almost like, I have to be a completely unreasonable bastard about this because it is the story, and he's not doing it for him. He's doing it so that it's the version that him and Terry Pratchett would have wanted to see. And
he's being very precious about it.
Yeah, that's what made him completely unreasonable about it, and that's what made it so true to source, and it paid off. I just think it's awesome. And the fact that they're doing it again, the same writer, co-writer as well, the screenplay writer or something like that. I can't remember his name.
It's one of the guys I think he wrote with before, John Finnemore.
Yeah, because apparently they had a conversation, and all of this has been going on for a while. It's just they've told us now because they can't contain it anymore. There's actually sort of filming going on in Scotland and stuff, and people are going to just find out. So he's basically just come clean and said, yeah, this is happening. But it's already in motion. Everything's going on.
No, I don't think it is the same writer, but he's a writer that's got quite a lot of
Well, he did say he asked one of the people, I can't remember who it was, I think he asked one of the people whether he'd be on board with doing more of it. And he
Looks
said,
like
yeah.
He's done a lot of work with Mitchell and Webb.
Yeah.
So, that's cool. Oh, well, we'll be all over this as soon as we hear any more.
Oh, yes.
I guess it's just been announced, so I don't know how far away it is. Maybe sometime next year, hopefully,
more adventures of Crowley and Aziraphale, I think.
Yeah,
if I'm mispronouncing that.
Yeah, cool. All right, well, turning to completely batshit stuff that's actually on right now, I suppose we could talk about Loki.
Yes.
I've only seen the first 3 episodes. Don't know how.
I just watched episode 4.
Right, so I haven't seen any of that.
I won't go ahead with that. But
say anything.
No.
But yeah, I mean, halfway through, I think this is a similarly sort of gonzo idea. Which, spoilers for Avengers Endgame. Loki gets the Tesseract, fucks off. We didn't know where until now, but
apparently nowhere.
There's this Time Authority, and there's a rogue version of him that he's in pursuit of, and it's really cool. Actually, I think it might be my favourite of the Disney shows so far.
Oh, really?
Because it's so batshit. Really.
I was kind of the opposite. I mean, I could see what he was doing, but I felt they were going a bit more character study of Loki with it.
Definitely the first one.
Yeah, and I kind of felt like, well, I knew that they only had, I think, 6 episodes, so I was kind of hoping that the beats would hit a bit quicker. Because you know how WandaVision, they waited till the 3rd episode for it to all kick off, and I kind of thought that had quite a few episodes to play with. Loki doesn't, so the first 2 kind of left me, it was interesting, but I didn't get the feeling that it was going to take off. I just got the feeling that it was going to remain, and it was almost like a self-discovery sort of series. So I kind of thought, yeah, it's okay. It's alright. It's not rubbish. I'm not one of those people that would just say, oh, there's not massive amounts of shooting. I mean, there's action going on. Like when you do see the other variant and stuff, like it's introducing a really massive concept to it. In fact, we should rewind back actually, because I realised that I'm a couple of weeks in. So I actually agree. It's interesting. I like it. It takes the whole thing of the Thanos arc and slight spoilers. It kind of trivializes it in a very almost throwaway moment where he breaks free and he finds some items in a drawer. And and it's almost, and at that point you see like the height of all of his conquests and ambition. You kind of think, well, you just see it all drain away, and he's kind of like, well, bloody hell, what?
yeah, exactly, and it's that sort of stuff that it takes some big swings. I think It's really well written, and it makes you think about things on a different level. That's pretty much the root of it. Yeah, is that it sort of trivializes the entire MCU canon up until now in many ways.
If I was to be a cynic, this is just devil's advocate, you could argue it's almost breaking the character of Loki. You know, you had Thor, who he was, and then they kind of broke him by making him fat and keeping him fat. You had Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man, who started off as kind of like a really hedonistic sort of Bruce Wayne. And by the end of it, he was kind of doubting himself and everything. And, you know, after Iron Man 3, he was kind of broken, which followed on from the first Avengers film. Sort of that whole episode of the nuke kind of almost broke him a bit. And then he kind of recovered a bit, but he still always had that as a shadow. And so it's almost like the MCU are taking these characters and they're just presenting them to you, but then they're kind of giving them a almost human fallibility to them, which is kind of good and kind of sometimes you just want them to, you know, get off your ass and go and punch the guy. Stop wallowing too much. But sometimes you're right there with them.
If there's any character that's got flaws, it's Loki, for sure.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's the whole point of him, isn't he? He's the playground trickster. He's the one that's always grinning. But then it's the kind of thing of behind the smile is a lot of pain, a lot of loneliness, and, you know, he doesn't have anything. So he just goes, fuck it, I'm just going to mash it all up.
Yeah. Well, you know, you do kind of feel sorry for him. What I think is genius is that you do still feel sorry for him and root for him, even after all the shit he's done.
Yeah, he's absolutely 100% the hero of this. I like his portrayal in this. He hasn't gone wow yet, which is nice. And
I don't find it. I can find him quite annoying sometimes. But he's good in this.
He's good in this. He's actually quite toned down. He's playing the role well, but he's definitely not. He's almost like the cop sidekick, isn't he? He's the partner in this, even though he's the main guy in the office. Yeah,
because he's got that kind of. He's ultimately the one with the authority, but he's also got this kind of whimsical manner.
Yeah, he almost doesn't fit in
Loki
there.
No end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he almost doesn't fit in. It's almost like at any minute now he could have broken free, which is, you know, he's kind of strange. But yeah, I don't know. I just think, well, for me, there's 2 episodes left, and I'm kind of like, okay, I want to see where it goes. And I've always wanted to see where it goes. And it's strange sort of 70s-esque spy thriller sort of feel to it.
Yeah, it's a bit Terry Gilliam.
Yeah,
I think, which I had a feeling it might be, but it really is like very
the
much
Baker-like phones and everything, and all this sort of stuff, and the almost Fallout-esque characters, and the little display, the propaganda things, talk about the timeline, and you know,
it's like retro chic, isn't it? Yeah, and there's a really good one shot, or edited to look like one shot, at the end of episode 3 that I thought was very impressive, with them running around trying to avoid getting blown up as this building falls down around them and stuff.
No,
pretty cool.
I wasn't expecting that location they end up at. Talk about how to, like, because you kind of, the first 2 episodes, I mean, not to be rude about it, I got the feeling that it was a lower budget show. Perhaps the budget went to Hiddleston, you know. It's like it's time travel so they can go to real places and stuff. Then I saw the Pompeii bit and I thought, oh no, they're putting some actual money into it. I know you've got the special effects of the doors and stuff, but once that's done, it's almost like Quantum Leap, isn't it? Which might be a nod to. You know, you can reuse that for different things, and it's still a lot of money. But when they started going to other places, and then this 3rd episode, where they went to that planet, one of the apocalypse planets, and I was just like, oh wow. And then it just suddenly, it almost stayed there for the entire episode, didn't it? Sort of following them around. It didn't even go back. It almost changed tempo. It suddenly became this desperate need to kind of, you know, they have this mission, and this episode is the mission. and then suddenly it was like, yeah, and then it all went funny, and it was just, and what an ending to that episode.
Yeah, it was kick ass. I think what I like about it is with the past two shows, you could sort of, I mean, you weren't too sure about WandaVision, but it was definitely following like some level of like a structure that you could sort of see coming. But with this, it's like all bets are off. I just go into it like really
just don't know where it's going.
No idea what is going to happen. So I think for that reason alone, it's like I said, it's probably my favourite one so far out of what they've done.
Well, as Jack Nicholson's Joker said, where do they get a load of this? It's episode 4.
Yeah, well, we'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah, another comic book type thing that's been out in the past few weeks, though, was Sweet Tooth, which is based on the graphic novel of the same name, and has been put together by Robert Downey Jr. and his wife.
I did not know that. Wow.
Yeah, they optioned it and got it made, and I thought it was rather good.
I thought it was really good.
Yeah, it follows the story of this young kid who's a hybrid kid, actually. So there's been a pandemic. At the same time, all these kids have got born with animal features. And there's like a faction of people that believe they've got something to do with it. So they're basically hunted into obscurity, you know. And this one kid, Gus, is taken into the wild to hide him by his father. Yeah. But unfortunately, there's an incident, and he has to go off in search of his mother.
It's almost the world finds you regardless of where you run to.
Yeah. Obviously, I mean, they couldn't have known about what's happened to the world in the time since they got this made. But it's incredibly coincidental that it bites quite close to the bone. But yeah, I mean, it's shot, looks amazing. I believe it was all shot in New Zealand. So there's lots of epic,
that would explain the really rich,
stuff. Yeah.
I like how they create a nice tell to the disease in which your little finger starts to, almost like the caffeine shakes, starts to kind of not vibrate, twitch. That's it. Which is ironic because I was saying to Suze, my hand used to do that when I used to have too much. It's like you hold the mouse at work and then you notice your little finger starts going like that. I'm thinking, I wonder where that came. I wonder whether that came from, because that's quite a fun little thing, you know.
Yeah. No, it's really well cast. Will Forte, another actor that can get on my nerves a bit, but he's great as the dad character. Early on, at least. And Nonso Anonzi as
Big Man. I don't know what his name was.
Big Man. It's Tommy Jeopard is the name of the character, according to IMDb, but I don't remember him ever getting called that.
It was weird because this felt like a proper journey film, didn't it? Series. Film. It felt like a film, even though it was a series. I mean, it's because that's because we binged it, but we just couldn't stop watching it.
No, well, I was the same, and the thing is that the episodes get they're only like after you get past the like second or third episode, they're only about 40 minutes go, so it is very easy to binge through. I told my sister about this on the Sunday. We went to see our dad, and she's like, "That sounds stupid." I'm like, "Well, give it a go. I've quite enjoyed the first one," and she just went home and watched the entire thing.
Yeah, it just pulls you in by the face. There's some really, the thing is, there's some really charming bits in there that really stick out. Like for me, it was the bit where they meet the family, and this isn't a spoiler or anything, but they meet the other family in the kind of large, almost lodge, ski lodge place. Yeah, it's like a ski lodge, isn't it, or something? And then the two kids are going off and they're having a little discussion, and the kids are so frank about it. Like the son goes to Gus, "Does your leg do that thing if you scratch behind your ear, which is a dog thing, not a deer thing. And Gus is like, I don't know. And then it's like, it's almost like a montage, and you see the kid scratch behind his ear, and you see his eyes sort of go, ooh, his leg starts going, he just starts laughing, and it cuts away. And you just think little things like that just add so much charm to this potentially really horrible world. And it just, I don't know.
And his glow in the dark eyes, they're like really freaky.
Yeah.
When they turn the light off.
Yes,
I thought that was quite cool.
But yeah, no, I really enjoyed it. I hope there's more. Or there should be more.
I think there will be. I can't imagine that they would just leave it at this, because they do set it up for a follow-up season.
Yeah,
there's loads of material. It's a long-running comic series.
Well, the world building was really good as well.
Yeah. I think they might have aged the kid down a bit. I think he's more like a sort of teenager in the comics.
Okay.
And I think that's kind of to give it this more like sort of Amblin Goonies type vibe.
Yeah.
Which I think works quite well.
I think it works better. I think you have more sympathy, and you kind of all of the parts where the kid has to do something. There's an increased element of risk because he's younger. Whereas when he's a teenager, you immediately think, oh, he can kick harder, and he can punch harder, and he could probably run a bit faster, and he should be smarter. But I think by having him younger, they kind of introduce element that he's more innocent, which works better, I think.
Yeah, and you end up with like more of a sort of family structure to the sort of
even if it's like main protagonist and guardian protector figure, and it works better, the dynamic between them, regardless of how the dynamic actually is, and then you get the extra people on there.
Yeah, well, John didn't have any complaints, and he's, this is one of his favourite graphic novels, and he thought like that they did it the right way, so
nice,
all good. That's Sweet Tooth, and that's all on Netflix.
Enjoy.
Right, what's next? What we got?
Love, Death and Robots.
Oh, right, yeah. I mean, well, that's certainly on the telly.
Can I just say, I can't actually remember the episodes I watched in this second series, because Netflix, doing its amazing ordering structure, put the second season above the first. So we watched all of the new episodes, and then we watched the one with the robots walking around Earth and going through all of the... I didn't remember it. I thought it was a new episode. There's 3 robots. One of them is like... one of them looks like an evolved form of an Alexa. It's like a floating triangular monolith.
First season of this, they did this crazy like random order thing, didn't they?
Yeah.
I remember that now. I don't think they've done that with this one.
Well, they've put the seasons the wrong way around in this one.
Because they're not really like seasons, are they? They call them...
I know, but the whole point would be you watch the first batch, then you would watch the new lot, rather than that's the thing. I didn't realise when I'd stopped watching the new ones. I was like, this seems really familiar, like the part with the cat, and then it started purring, and they joked and went, "Oh, it's armed," and I'm like, I remember this joke from somewhere, and then I realised, oh wait, we're watching the older ones now.
Oh right, yeah. No, the ones I got, I liked the... Where are we? So what's this? Yeah, the second one. I like the third one, Pop Squad, where they're dealing with overpopulation. So there's they have to deal with children being born.
Oh, yeah.
And then I liked the Drowned Giant, which was the last one.
Yeah, that was weird. Oh, yeah. Now that I've put them up, I remember them now. I thought the automated, the home cleaner one was a nice Terminator reference one. But, to kind of get you in there, because that had all of them. That had love, death, and robots.
True. So, this is the animated anthology series put together by Tim Miller, who directed Deadpool, and also David Fincher, I think, was involved at one point. But that Drowned Giant, that's based on a it's a famous if I Google it. It's a famous author's short story that's it. The Drowned Giant by J.G. Ballard. And so he's adapted that and made this short film about it, which is really cool. Like this guy sort of, basically this naked giant just like washes up on the shore and people are people about it. So
yeah, they go and take selfies, stand on it, gawp at the appendages.
But yeah, though they're all good. I think there's only 8 episodes in this latest season. There was 18 in the first, but I'd say generally like the hit rate is a bit higher on this second season. I think there were certainly more memorable ones, even if they're a little bit slight. Some of them, like
there was one where, and I'm sure it looked like what's his name who played Creed, and he was a pilot.
Michael B. Jordan.
Yeah, he was a pilot, and he crashes on the planet.
Is Michael B. Jordan. Yeah.
Yeah, it looked
Life
like
Hutch.
Yes, that was it. That was kind of cool, but that felt like part of I was playing part of a video game, which I know they're all CG animated, but it felt like an even smaller story than the rest of them. And I know they all varied.
Yeah, well, there wasn't a lot to it.
No,
he crashes on a planet. Goes in a thing.
A malfunctioning medic droid tried to kill him, and he couldn't move, and that was it. And then he killed it.
Yeah, I think with that it was more about the star power and the the execution rather than the actual story.
You know, and you did think, oh God, where's this going to go? Like, you know, he's getting his hand crushed by this thing and he can't scream out or make any noise because it could just murder him. It was like an amped up version of one of those robot dogs from War of the Worlds remake.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, this carries on the theme from our last episode or the one before that, where we were certainly I was talking about animation having a bit of a renaissance during the pandemic. And there's been there's been a bunch of shows. Like, I mean, we've got the final season of Castlevania finally aired on Netflix. I thought that was pretty amazing.
That was awesome. I actually teared up, or I haven't teared up for an animated thing for a while. I was just like, oh my God, you bastards! This is so good. Go, Trevor.
It was certainly was awesome.
Yeah.
Like, just in terms of like the whole spectacle of it, because it's had its moments throughout. This is like the 4th and final season, and it's what I've always loved about Castlevania is that it's just really takes itself seriously. I mean, it has a laugh along the way, but it's written like Game of Thrones. You know, there's this whole vampire hierarchy, all lots of scheming, backstabbing, and also lots of like mad fighting. Excellent voice cast.
Do you know what's crazy about it? Because we were messaging Will about it, weren't we? Trying to get him to watch it. Of the Not Playing podcast, and I went back and I really didn't realise there were only 4 episodes to the first season.
Yeah, I mean, I'd forgotten that completely as well.
And then all of this is the fallout from that.
Yeah. I mean, it does set up a lot actually, despite there only being 4. Yeah.
It's just it's like they all refer back to it. They all refer to it's like it's always someone. Whenever someone realises that some crazy nutcase monk somewhere in a shed is sacrificing children to bring back Dracula, and then they're always going, "Why are you bringing back that mad bastard?" Everyone's losing their shit, going, "No one wants to do that." Even the vampires are like, "Oh my God, that guy, why?" He either had no vision, or he didn't appreciate how useful I am, or anything like that. But yeah, I mean, apart from one vampire whose revelation was absolutely fucking insane. Yeah, and you're right, it was Malcolm McDowell. And then when you said that, I was like, oh my God, of course. A voice I've not heard in so long.
Like, the whole time I was watching it, I was like, I know that name.
Yeah.
And it's not like on Amazon, you can just press up and it will show you who it is. But on this, it was not having it at all.
Oh,
But yeah, no, I think what I love about it really is that it's how I remember like old cartoons being.
yes.
But obviously they weren't. But it's done for my
Yeah,
age.
it's us from then, but we've taken into account the cynicism bias and everything of being an adult. So you kind of, you need it to be newer, you need it to look nicer than it did in the 80s sort of stuff. And, it always takes into account our age and how much shit we've seen since those cartoons back then. And then, then when they team up again, you're like, yes! Fucking yes!
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
And it just looks like, it's almost like that when we saw Age of Ultron, the opening shot, and you had that bit where they were all just leaping through the air, and it was like, okay, that was the poster. The film could stop there.
Yeah. Yeah, there's some other shows done in this vein, like the more recent Transformers. They're not afraid to like have like an entire episode where it's just two people talking.
Nice.
Like there is this Blood of Zeus.
I heard about that. I need to watch that because it's got an actress an actor that I follow. I've followed since Babylon 5. That's one of the voices, Claudia Christensen. Yeah, she's pretty cool. She's quite funny and quite serious.
And Kevin Smith's got his new He-Man.
Yeah, I was about to mention that as well. That's probably going to be quite epic.
I imagine we'll probably be talking about that at some length.
Yeah.
At some point. Whenever, I think it's next month it comes out, July sometime. Right, okay. So, I've watched some other things. I won't go into too much detail as we're already running quite long. But I guess I have to mention Mayor of Easttown because that's been a really good show on HBO. 7 episodes. Kate Winslet playing a small-time cop. Her mum is played by Jean Smart and Guy Pearce is in it. He's like her male interest. But yeah, she's a cop and it's really, really, really well done. I didn't even need there to be an actual crime going on because I just enjoyed all the people that were in it so much. But there is a crime and it's quite brutal. And there's that. Also want to quickly mention Motherland, which is a very funny show that's on BBC iPlayer. Some of it's on Netflix, actually. The first 2 seasons are on Netflix, but the rest of it's on iPlayer.
Okay.
And it's written by Sharon Horgan, who was in Catastrophe and wrote that. But also Graham Linehan, who did Father Ted and IT Crowd.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So it's proper funny, and it's basically just these like bitchy mums who are like all a bit sort of fed up that they have to deal with their children all the time. So they sort of like the pilot is sort of like set up around them trying to infiltrate into this mother's clique so that they can palm their kids off on them just to help with the childcare. So obviously, but it's just like, it's, like the best episodes of like Father Ted where it's sort of like, it kind of escalates.
Yeah.
It's like a farce, It's classic old comedy trope, but they do a really good job of that, and it's cool. Like for example, she's got a husband, the main character in it's husband, but you never see them in the same room. Like he's always at the football or up a tree or somewhere else, and she's just like, why, where are you, like, what, I don't even understand what you're saying, like, and it's like he's just like this third grown up child that she has to deal with, so it will just do like that.
So he's just like a voice that she talks to over the phone or whatever, or referred to in the
and like this one of the characters is Kevin. He's with the mums, but he's like a stay-at-home dad, and he'll refer to his wife, but like you never see her at all. She's just, it's like absent, players in. Yeah. It all just works. And there's Amanda, who's basically like, Joanna Lumley in absolutely
Yeah.
fabulous.
Just basically.
Yeah, she's basically like her. You'll never guess who plays her mum in an episode.
Joanna Lovely. Oh, I love that bit of fourth wall there. It's just like...
Yeah, sorry. I mean, I didn't want to spoil that, but I think I had heard that.
Yeah, it sounds like it does take a lot from sort of British comedies and stuff. Like the whole idea of referring to the other spouse, or the spouse, it's kind of like a birds of the feather thing where Doreen, the neighbour, always referred to her husband, but you never ever saw him.
Yeah, that's it.
Ever.
Yeah, exactly. It's classic. It's really classic. It honestly is like really worth checking out.
That's a really old series there. Like, well, 80s old.
But it definitely like refers back to that sort of stuff. I think Sharon Horgan's fantastic anyway. There's definitely a big Irish thing to it. You know, all the creators are Irish, and there's that's comedy. It's always been around like the stuff that Graham Linen's done. It's like that Catholic guilt sort of put upon, sort of, you know, self-flagellating martyrdom. You know, I know all about that, believe me. Yeah, so definitely check that out. Motherland on Netflix and iPlayer. I watched this show, Time, which is like, it's just 3 episodes, and it's got Sean Bean in it, and it's got
the prison
Stephen
one.
Graham. Yeah.
Yes, I haven't seen that yet, but yeah, it looks interesting.
Yeah, so yeah, it's just 3 episodes, and he's like playing a guy who did like a hit and run, and he's like, you know, in his 50s or however Sean Bean is. And he's like, have you ever been to prison before? He's like, no. And then you find out quite quickly that he was drunk driving, you know, caused the death of this guy. So he's not like a career criminal or nothing. He's just, you know, chips have gone the wrong way and shit happened. And then you've got Stephen Graham, who's playing a prison guard who's got family in the prison system and starts getting kind of blackmailed. And so you've got these 2 kind of guys going in opposite directions across this prison situation. It's Jimmy McGovern, I think, is the writer, who's done a lot of like really gritty stuff. And there's some pretty hardcore stuff in this. Some people have gone, oh no, it's too much. But, you know, I've watched some fucking horrific shit in my time. So have you, I suppose.
Yeah, I think I mentioned the guard. Sorry, the name escapes me again.
Yeah.
He was in Line of Duty. Yeah, he was in Line of Duty, and I saw from the trailer another cast member as well. So I kind of thought, it's in a prison. Oh god, this has got to have something really gnarly happen.
I thought it was good. The only thing I will say is right at the end. I won't say what it is, but there's just a bit right at the very end that didn't sit quite right with me. But I sort of get it, but it was just a bit too twee for me, and I didn't think they needed to do that. Yeah.
Yes. Well, you know, Sean Bean has to die, so because he wasn't named Scene Bean, the universe is going to eternally punish him.
Cool. All right. I don't know. Go on then.
Yeah. I've got one quick one, actually, following up from Time. You mentioned that you'd started rewatching Doctor Who, and I've been doing the same. Started from episode 1, Rose, and we're now on season 3, Tennant's second one with Martha Jones.
Because I've had
Freema. Yeah, we've watched the Lazarus.
I haven't
experiment one.
I've just done the Shakespeare Code with the witchy things.
Oh yeah, I think we were just a couple of episodes back from there. Yeah, we're really loving it. We just thought we pushed it back, and we mentioned a while back, should we watch them? Because we've never done that. And yeah, we've just been absolutely, it's like dinner time, evening viewing. We're just absolutely, it's pretty cool.
I got a little bit waylaid with season 1 of Torchwood, which I honestly,
we've left that for a reason. Because we just wanted to plough through Doctor Who, but then we're seeing all these Torchwood references come up, and I'm going, I didn't notice them so much the first time round. Like, they're really just so much of it, and you're like, wow. Even like the episode with the gas ghosts, with I think it was the Eccleston one.
Yeah.
We're in the Victorian times, and you've got with
There's a
was it with
Dickens
Shakespeare?
one.
Is it Shakespeare? No, Charles Dickens. Yes.
No, there are
Dickens,
a few. There's one. There's one with Queen Victoria and a werewolf, and that is a blatant tee up. I think that's the end of season 2, isn't it? Where they are cute. Yeah, it's epic.
That's one of my favourite episodes ever.
I actually tweeted the guys that do the podcast.
It's absolutely amazing.
Listen to podcasts I've been listening to along with it, but then they do Star Trek as well.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of about halfway through season 2 of the original series of Star Trek, and I just watched the Tribbles one.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Such a classic. It's the bit where he's talking and they're still falling through the,
I know,
through the roof,
really,
and they're hitting him with the head every other word, and it's almost like, and then it's I just love it. It's like it's not even. It's just like every odd one, and then you kind of think, someone's actually lobbing him at his head.
See, that podcast drops on like a Tuesday, so I'd end up like catching up with like that week's. Whatever the week, so I listen to the podcast, then I'll watch the next 2, then the podcast will be about that. So I've sort of got to try. Basically, I've got an episode of Trek and an episode of Who that I need to watch sort of before this time next week, really. Otherwise, they just stack up and it's a nightmare. Trying to keep pace, you know. And it's good though because it means in these days where we aren't exactly like inundated with things to watch because of one thing or another. You know, it's sort of slowing me down getting through other things, which is kind of, I don't mind at all because I've got the time.
Yeah, no. Well, that's the thing. I'm really enjoying this. Like, just it's like even like the fact that some of the special effects are a bit dated. I don't even care. It's just fun. I just like really enjoying watching it. It's just like, and some of the earlier episodes. Oh God. I thought it was me being a bit entitled. You know how sort of sci-fi fans can get. You kind of get a bit poisoned with a series, and you kind of get a bit Gollum about it all. And I kind of thought the later series were a little bit weird with the writing. But watching some of these earlier ones, the way they cue stuff up, it's so much better. Some of the time they've taken with some of the elements in them, like, it's really well done. It hasn't been overly rushed, and the way that the Doctor's kind of solved it and stuff, it's been quite good.
Fun.
It's been
I just love
really
Tennant's
really good.
Infectious enthusiasm. You know, I think I'm gonna really struggle when they move it on. I never watched any of the other stuff at all. I don't have any memory or knowledge of what to expect really as it goes on.
Watching this now, I completely forgot what Tennant's Doctor was like because it's so long ago for me, and I could see that he basically just took Eccleston's one and just kind of dialed up the mad and the kind of almost a bit like the kind of thing that he brought to it, the kind of almost ferret in the headlights, sort of like a bit like, let's go there, woo, and it's the bits where he jumps in and kind of goes, am I being rude again? You know, it's like, there's bits like that, he's playing the alien well, sort of almost, it's almost a bit like he doesn't understand, he's been around for so long, but he still doesn't quite get it, and it's quite funny, it's
I think there's just a good camaraderie and like it's just the invention of it, the imagination that some of the writers have. I mean, so they take big swings, and sometimes they don't always hit, you know. But it's nice to know. And again, it's like you don't really know what you're going to get next time. Like, I mean, it really annoys me the way they give you that preview on the next time. I always quit through it because I don't want to know.
Yes, I fast forward it. Yeah, no, and the whole Rose Bad Wolf thing. How that went so far back than I realised, because I thought it was, I remember when they sprayed it on the side of the TARDIS, the little kid on there, and some of the things, but there are so many things I'm picking up the second time round.
From a very early point, like seasons back.
I'm spotting like bill posters Yeah, I'm spotting bill posters with it and stuff, and the whole thing where Rose gets sealed off in the other dimension, the fact that they're in Norway and the Norwegian place they land with a rift, the last bit where you can speak to her, it's in Bad
that's
Wolf
right.
Bay, it translates as, and that's after it all happened, so it's still going on. Like, it's crazy, and I'm just spotting now the Saxon stuff, and I went, it's like they mention a Mr. Saxon once, whatever, this and that. And I'm like, okay. And then there's like bill posters. I'm like, oh,
yeah,
clever boys. But yeah, it's all good. It's fun. It's all fun.
All right then. So shall we do some movies then?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, yeah. So cinemas are open once again. I don't think you've ventured out yet, have you, Marcus? But I have.
No, not yet.
So I went to see A Quiet Place 1 and 2 back to back a few weeks back. And yeah, it was really good. I mean, it was for the price of one ticket. Obviously, they're trying to get people back, aren't they? But it was the price of one ticket at the Everyman in Chelmsford. And I wanted to do it just because I, like a fool, had not seen A Quiet Place 1 at the cinema, and everyone raved and raved about that when that came out. So I was like, well, if I get...
I've got to get that experience for myself.
Yeah, I just want to see what the fuss is about. And it is really good because it's like, yeah, the sound is really produced very well. Like when they're in the basement, you can really tell positionally where things are, and you're like you can hear it's so quiet, you can hear like your glass chinking away in your drink, you know. And I was like, oh yeah, no, it really was quite fun. But yeah, obviously the main thing was to see the second film, which I thought was pretty good actually. They've obviously been hanging on to this for over a year. You know, they did their premiere and stuff just before it all kicked off. And so a lot of people had seen this, but had done a good job of, you know, not saying anything. So yeah. So I mean, essentially, you know, the first film starts on day like 200 and something, and this one picks up straight after, but first goes to day one, and we see what how it all happened, or a glimpse of the inciting event, you might say. And so it's in this bit where they're able to get their multi-million-dollar cock out and really show off like what a bit more money can do to that idea. So, you know, the first one was very much like a haunted house sort of thing, very small, very lean kind of idea. And so in the first moments of this sequel, you're seeing it all fucking kick off like Jurassic Park. So yeah, that's all. I'll say no more. But you get an impact of, you get an idea of like what happened, why they're in the situation they were in the first film. Other than that, then we go straight back to the where we left off at the end of the first film with the and they go off on a sort of a bit of a journey to try and hook up with see if there's anyone like any other community out there. Obviously, they're very isolated after what happened in the first film. Also, their house is trashed, so they need to find somewhere else to live. The survivors of the first movie. So, I'll say no more than that. They bump into Cillian Murphy, who kind of picks up the leading man role. I'm trying not to spoil the first one, but it's difficult. And it was good going in exactly with that first film in my head, but I will say it does suffer by comparison because it's simply just, you know,
once the idea has been done, isn't it? It's sort of, And
I think what they did, because originally John Krasinski resisted the idea of making a sequel. He didn't want to be involved, but like the studio were just like, well, can you just give us an idea of where you might like it to go? They knew what they were doing. Because he's straight away after, you know, he's like, well, make it about the daughter. She's deaf. And she's a great actress, deaf in real life. And so a good like proportion of the film is about her doing, you know, a thing. But obviously it's still about the others as well. But yeah, she gets like the main thrust of the plot, I suppose. But yeah, there's not much more to it really than the first film. Griblies don't make a noise or they'll come and get you, and that's kind of all there is to it. So, and there'll probably be another one. I imagine this one has done quite well, especially now it's, being one of the first films back since COVID and lockdown and that. But it really does feel like cinema is back, like it isn't like that last time where, we had a couple of films and then everything shut down. Now it feels like there is a endless stream of releases coming out. So there's that. And I saw Nobody, which is the film with Bob Odenkirk by the John Wick people. I went to see that as well. And that wasn't as busy as the Quiet Place one. That was rammed, the Quiet Place thing, obviously, because it was such a good deal. But Nobody's fun with Bob Odenkirk playing like a complete fucking badass. But also really well cast, because at first you sort of think he's having a meltdown, but he's actually like some sort of psycho, like professional killer, sort of. So yeah, that's pretty cool. And Christopher Lloyd plays his dad, which is nice. And he's also a bit of a Fruit Loop. So that's Rob's adventures back in cinema land. I think Fast 9 is out this weekend. I'm quite tempted.
Yeah.
And then we've got Black Widow the week after. But I'm probably just going to watch that one at home.
Yeah, I'm going to Disney Plus that one. Not because of the cinema thing, but I just find it's going to be a prequel. I don't feel as though the story is going to be as involved for me. Yeah. Personally.
Yeah, well, that's it. I mean,
I think it'll be a good film. It'll be fun.
Yeah, the reviews are starting to come out.
I don't feel I want to go out of my way to go and see it, kind of thing. If that makes sense.
I mean, the thing is, it's like, part of me is like, do I go to cinema? Because with all these Disney Plus shows, it's like, so it's just going to be one of those, but like a standalone one for, it's like,
with a movie budget to it.
Two back-to-back episodes. Yeah, I mean, you can see on the trailers it's already got like a lot of shit going on. But I don't feel like that invested in any of their characters, really. Like, especially when the lead one that you'd want to be the most excited about, we know is dead.
Yeah. It's kind of like them doing Iron Man 1, or trying to do Iron Man 1 or Iron Man 2, which was Iron Man 1 with more amped.
Yeah.
As a kind of in-between prequel sort of thing. So it's like, Iron Man 2. It's like them trying to release that now. To say, well, here's an earlier Tony Stark film because we know he's dead. So this is what he got up to with these people, with Rhodey, against this Russian Whiplash character. And enjoy.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, I feel it would have been nice for her to have had a standalone film before, considering she debuted in Iron Man 2? Anyway, which when I go back and watch was actually quite nice and subtle. The way she comes in as an intern and then she just starts kicking ass. I thought that was great, and I thought it was a shame that they kind of just left the character as kick-ass assassin person. It was almost like, I know it's a comic book character, but she didn't have a whole lot going for her, and I kind of felt that whole scene in the house where she's talking to Mark Ruffalo felt kind of like forced in at the last minute, because it felt like, well, you've had so many films to start talking about bits. Loki mentions like so much blood in the first Avengers film. Can you wipe out that much red? Then they leave it. Then she's fine. Then she just goes off and does her own thing. And then there's that whole thing about the graduation ceremony, which is a horrible thing to happen, but it just felt a bit forced. It was a bit like out of left field, like, whoa.
I've never thought they laid enough track for us to be genuinely interested in her backstory.
Yeah, it felt like we're supposed to feel sympathy for the character, but she almost felt a bit like a mobile weapon. She was like almost too sultry, sexy assassin sort of thing.
Yeah.
You know, it was a bit like... So I don't know. I think it might be a fun film, but I think it's just going to be that, a fun film. And there's not going to be any peril towards the main character unless it turns out she's a clone.
Yeah, well, that's why I think it's really about setting up some other characters that they can bring back.
Yeah.
I think that's what it's all about.
Maybe.
I'm reading here that it's like it all turns into a bit of a stodgy mess at the end, like really overlong final act. Over 2 hours, like no need for that. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see for ourselves. I still don't know whether I will just watch it at home. It's just I saw that option was there, and it's good because it means that whatever we'll be able to have a conversation about it. This year.
I'm happy to. I'm happy to leave it. I'm not going to pay if there's a premium option, almost like a home cinema one. I don't think I'll go for that. I'll leave it because it will be on Plus pretty soon.
It's going to be October.
Reckon. Yeah, but Plus Premium. I'm not going to use a premium option to view it. October, sorry. Yeah,
that's when it will just go on there. But I don't know if I can wait that long.
Okay.
Just because I like using the internet.
There might be a whole load of stuff between now and then. It might just get swept to the side. You might just find a whole slew of stuff on Disney Plus and Apple TV and everything.
No, it's not going to happen. I won't be able to know that this is out and not see it. Not after waiting this long.
Fair enough.
Okay then.
Well, speaking of things that people have been waiting to be out, I guess.
Yeah.
Shall we mention Army of the Dead?
Yeah, we can do, yeah. That is definitely a film that is more easily accessible than any Marvel films they've been hanging on to.
Yeah.
But yeah, again,
felt a
Zack
bit like
Snyder.
one as well at times.
So again, this was a very short, snappy, to the point film, full of interesting introspection, incredible writing, and no, I'm joking, it had none of those things.
There was one interesting thing that I quite liked what they did. And they kind of then, it was like, the idea of like a zombie lord.
I can't cope with clever zombies. I just can't cope with it.
No, but that was the thing. It's like
they just weren't even zombies.
No, but that's the thing. It's like they're creatures, and it's like a hive mentality or whatever. So obviously, there's got to be a queen or something, or a king. I kind of liked the idea of it because I thought at least someone's done that, and it's done now. But I felt the film was way too long.
Definitely.
And you know what? Do you know what? I thought after the opening credits, that was the film.
That was the best bit, was the opening credits, in my opinion. All the little storylines going on in that. It's like, that's him doing that's what he's best at, Zack Snyder, pop videos. It's like, montages and stuff. That's him at his best, I think. But yeah, no, it all got a bit macho. It's basically aliens. The plot is basically aliens, isn't it? Because it's like, find this ragtag group of nutters.
The plot is actually Peninsula, which I'd watched.
I've not seen that.
Train to Busan Peninsula. I'd watched a couple of weeks before. That's a film I'd watched very briefly. The plot is very similar. They go into a place because of money reasons, and they go to do a job, and it's a team of people, and they go into a zombie-ridden place to retrieve money.
Yeah.
And it all goes wrong.
But that's would you say that's better then?
They even escape on helicopters.
Wow.
Same
so
way
I
out.
don't really need to see it then.
Peninsula, actually, I think, was a better film because it's just Korean cinema. Absolutely batshit. You've got a literal kid driving a car, and it's just beating the shit out of the hordes of zombies, like drifting and everything. And it's just, some of the stuff was quite clever, a lot cleverer than Army of the Dead. I preferred it. I preferred it, to be honest.
Cool.
Peninsula.
And that's on Amazon, isn't it?
I think so. Yeah,
I might have to watch that then.
Only because I don't think it says long. I think it's like, I'm hoping it's like an hour 40, but it might be 2 hours, unfortunately. But
there we go. It is.
It's going to be like 2.5 hours or something.
It's 1 hour 55.
Okay.
And it's included in Prime, so I may well check that out.
Yeah, take out credits, hour 50. There you go.
I don't mind a long film if it justifies its length. But I just find all of Zack Snyder's stuff to be just so incredibly baggy, and I was just like getting really like, it's like there's just too many characters, and I don't need.
Do you know? Yeah, and there was a bit which felt like they were just flicking characters off the board at one point.
Yeah,
there's a bit where they're going through all of the sleeping zombies. Oh, even the thing with was there an element with the zombies and the light or something that triggered them? So it's like they were asleep. They were like hibernating or something. And I can't remember what woke them, whether it was light or something like that.
Yeah, I know the one you mean.
No, they slept during the day. They slept during the day, and then at night they woke up or something, wasn't it? Or I don't know, it was some weird thing. But I'm thinking that also was like Train to Busan, where in the dark they all just become inactive, and I'd forgotten that was a thing.
Yeah, I also thought they could have done a bit more with the location, other than it being, because it's Vegas, and there's so much you can do with that, other than just making one of Siegfried and Roy's tigers into a zombie tiger.
Oh, that was the best bit.
There's a good bit.
We actually got to see a zombie tiger.
I like the guy who plays the annoying one as well, the one who's like a bit of a traitor. He actually played two different characters of a similar kind in Deadwood. That guy.
What, the guy who was sent in to go with them?
Yeah. That.
He was also in Fear the Walking Dead.
Was he?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
He's still in it. We might have watched a few of those. I don't know why, but luckily we were stopped behind the Amazon paywall for the latest series.
Oh, right.
So we just went, we're free.
Shit. Yeah, no, Dave Bautista's good. I quite like him. He doesn't have a lot to do here, but like generally, I tell you what I kept thinking of was like him as in like if they made a Gears of War film, like
he could
pretty
play
much
Marcus,
with the way the zombies are designed and his sort of like massive frame,
physique.
I think why doesn't that happen? They should do that.
You could see him running with the shaky over the shoulder cam, running to cover.
Yeah, or just remake.
You could see him chainsawing.
Yeah, exactly. Or just remake every Arnie film, but with him in it. I'd watch that. Easy. So that's Army of the Dead. What else we got? I saw Brightburn. I know you watched this a long time ago. Which is about the Superman, but
the Anti-Fist superhero Genesis story.
Yeah, I quite enjoyed it because it's like a Superman premise, but it's actually
I was trying to, because I thought you would. I mean, I think at the time you were like, but I don't care. Superman's already there, and I went, yeah, but it's not about that, and it's more than a what if, because it's genuinely fucked up, and I didn't want to give any of it away, and it's hard to kind of tell you without giving you examples.
Yeah, there's some proper
there's so many messed
there's some
up.
really inventive gore in that. Bit of jaw destruction that's always amusing to watch, I suppose, or horrific to watch.
I want to see. After that film, I really want to see a follow up. I want to see him full grown Homelander, without any of the kind of gross out humour, but just the horror.
Yeah.
I just want to see, like, what would you do? What the hell would you? It's the nightmare scenario, isn't it? It's the one they would never ever do. I mean, they always do a story where Soups is a bad guy, like the Kingdom Come ones and stuff like that, or was it Justice? I can't remember the other version where he's all wearing black or black and white.
Red Sun?
He's basically just. No, Red Sun, he was just Russian, but he ended up being good by the end of it.
Sorry, I'm just pulling it.
Yeah, no, I know. But there's one where it's like he's basically his version of the Justice League, and if you're not guilty, you're fine. But if you're guilty, you're just murdered.
Oh, right, I see.
And that's it.
Brutal.
But that's like going through some trauma with like, you know, losing Lois Lane and all this sort of stuff, and, you know, all of the stuff that would keep someone grounded, and they just think, well, fuck it, I am going to be a god, which is what Snyder stole for his version, or borrowed, or whatever. But Brightburn, right from the get-go, he goes towards darkness. He doesn't want to be good. He just is broken.
There is like an inciting event, isn't there? There's something. They keep hold of part of his ship, don't they, in the basement, and that sort of.
Yeah.
He starts hearing voices
before then,
and shit.
He's drawing like the character of himself with the mask and stuff in school in everything, in his little books and stuff. So he's kind of already broken and disturbed.
Yeah.
And it's just when he awakens and he starts going a bit mad and just like freakily pulling at the doors and you know. And then I haven't seen that in so long. I had to go and watch that again now. But I just want to see what even not even a full adult, say Superboy's age, early 20s maybe, late teens, early 20s. What the hell would that do to the world? It would be like a disaster movie, but
yeah, you want to see
the thing they never do.
You want to see the opposite arc, don't you?
Yeah, exactly. A super villain movie where you're not rooting for the villain, you're just reeling and reveling in the destruction and going, "Oh my god, what the hell?"
Yeah, that could be really bleak, you know.
I know, but you know, this film, it didn't have a happy ending.
No, that's true. Yeah. So I saw another film that you waxed on about on here, which was Godzilla King of the Monsters.
Oh yeah, here we go. No, I didn't think it would be for you, but I thought you needed to at least see the spectacle.
There were bits of it, right,
to get an idea.
Yeah, there were bits of it. There's scenes like that you could freeze frame and just have on your wall, you know, because it looks so epic. But my only issue with it was that it just felt it was like really long. And I know it's like that epic sort of film, but it's just got all these people in. My favourite though is the guy who from the West Wing who just finds the whole thing to be hilarious. He's like the sort of wisecracking dude.
He's just laughing.
Yeah,
He's just like.
I think at one point a character actually says, "Oh my god," and he goes, "Zilla."
Yeah, I know.
At that point, I was like, "Did that really just happen?" Like,
it did.
Yeah,
but that's the whole thing. I mean, they're
injecting a bit of humour. Let's not take it too
this is the whole problem. What I don't get, Godzilla films are meant to be weird.
Yeah,
then people don't get it. It's like when you try to make them too serious and too epic, it's kind of not what they are.
No.
They're epic in the scale of the destruction, like he just wade through and fucking cities are gone and he's punching a three-headed dragon in the face, you know, and whatever. But they're very odd cinema. That's kind of the feel I wanted you to get, because genuinely, hand on heart, whether you enjoyed it or not, that film is the closest thing I've ever seen to a Western version of a Godzilla film.
Yeah, I mean, it's got all the different creatures in it and stuff, hasn't it? So
yeah, and not just that, the people running around doing shit that in the end doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
And, you know, and then realising, shit, I've got to stop doing what I'm doing and try not to die, because these things can just murder me with just, like, breath.
It did remind me a bit of the original Independence Day. Actually, in terms of like, you know, there's a bit where he has to go in there and sort the bomb out, and I was like, oh yeah, it's sneak right into the lair of it. I'm like, oh, this reminds me of something.
Sneaking into the stadium and stuff. Oh yeah, and that's another thing. Using a bloody nuke to reset Godzilla and charge him up.
Yeah.
If that's not a Japanese concept of insanity. I mean, I don't know how that got past the people making the film, but I'm glad it did.
It's a metaphor, like he always has been a metaphor for like Hiroshima and stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
which is why it was kind of poignant that it was Serizawa that went there.
Yeah.
Because his father was the survivor and the watch was passed down and stuff. And
yeah, like I say.
It was almost like plus he finally got to meet the underground god You got to touch it just before it all went off.
Yeah.
And the score going on there as well. I still find myself listening to the music as I'm working. It's on my Spotify playlist.
Yeah, it does all sound quite awesome. Like I say, it didn't change my life, but I thought it was perfectly fine. It's just there was a bit where I was like, this film is very blue, and why are there just all these people in this blue place? And I can't remember. There's too many people to even keep track of, like, what side they're on or whatever. I was like, that's just a lot.
You got Charles Dance going off and doing whatever.
He's not even part of the thing, is he? He's just some, like, renegade.
He was a means for the eco-scientist woman to use to basically get this thing funded. And that's another thing as well. There's always some sort of morality tale, because she abandoned her morals. She's supposed to be working for a better world, and in the end she doomed it, so she had to die. It's a kind of weird, harsh. That's why I say it's really weird, because they kind of took a lot of the beats from Japanese films, like in cinema, and put them in, and it kind of felt a bit like, oh, she's going to get rescued, why did she go off in the Jeep? Because she just has to die. It's fate, the scales must balance. She brought the catastrophe to the world.
That is totally
she can't be allowed to go off.
No, that's fair enough.
And also the big flying plane. It's like there was a conversation that I had with someone, and they said, where the fuck did Monarch get this great big flying sort of bomber-style aircraft from? I said, it's a Godzilla film. There's always a random flying aircraft.
Yeah, the aircraft didn't bother me too much. I mean, I don't know why.
No.
I'm kind of like... It's kind of like, well, look, there's a gigantic fucking monster, like, breathing, like... I know. And I like the thing with 3 heads. That was great. Like, just the introduction of that was just so immense. Because I think I've sent a few little moans, and then I was like, oh, no, I'm in now. This is just fucking outrageous.
But you see what I mean? It's a sit down, have a beer, and just watch the fucking fireworks.
But I was totally in the mood for that, because it was on Saturday, and, like, I was basically like... I don't really want to go out tonight because we're travelling down to Devon in the morning, and I don't want to be like a hungover mess. I want to save myself the next couple of days. So I thought, I just want to, like, this is instead of going out, I want to switch my brain off, have something nice for dinner, and maybe a glass of wine, and just put my feet up and just watch.
I didn't believe you when you messaged me that you were watching it. I really didn't believe you.
Well, I thought it was on Now TV or on Sky.
It was originally, but I think it's gone back to
on Amazon
Prime. Oh yeah, it was on Now, because I had it bookmarked, and I went to watch it the other day, and it wasn't on there anymore. Yeah,
I did that after I spoke to you. I was like, oh, that's on there. I'll watch that then, because I remember you were so passionate about it. I thought it's got to have something in there for me. So it's the same reason I watched Brightburn and Happy Death Day to You. I watched, which I thought was...
They're not bad, isn't it? They're not bad little films.
I thought that was
they
smart.
do something quite well.
Yeah. You know what I mean? It's like when you say about some films, or I say I'm not watching it, it doesn't mean I'm not ever watching it. It just means I'm not.
Oh, no.
I'm going to wait till I can easily watch it.
I just see it as a challenge to talk more about it. Yeah. Just sort of get mildly annoying.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, it's. I just find it kind of weird, because I left the cinema after watching that, and it was one of the best. It was probably one of the best bits of money I've ever spent for entertainment.
Well, you went up to IMAX and watched it, didn't you?
Did I?
I think you went to fucking Waterloo on your own and watched it, didn't you?
I don't know.
Maybe not. Maybe it's something else I'm thinking of. I do remember you being I think you definitely went more than once.
I think me and Suze went to the Basildon one. It wasn't quite full on Waterloo. I wanted to go to the Waterloo one. I don't think it was there. But yeah, we saw it at the IMAX at Basildon, because we saw the 2014 Godzilla there. But yeah, it was everything I hoped for after the first film, and then following the director and saying the next one we're going to work more with Toho, because it's what he wanted to do, but he basically got hamstringed. And then Toho went, okay, we're going to license some more monsters.
Yeah.
Go and play some more. And then he just went, all right. But yeah, no, it was a lot of fun. I don't know. I've talked about it too much already, so let's move on.
No, that's fine. I haven't really got. I think that's almost it, really. I watched Raya and the Last Dragon. That's another Disney premium thing.
Yeah, we saw that as well.
But it's now just normal. Anyone can watch it. I think it's basically they do the premium thing, and then 3 months later, it's just part of your subscription.
Yeah.
Or 3 or 4. It's July, August, September. No, 3 months if they release Black Widow in July for premium. Then 3 months later.
Yeah, it could be October.
So maybe I can wait that long because it is October's not as far away as I'm thinking, but whatever. And I watched Mitchell's versus the Machines, which is the new thing by the guys who did Spider-Man Multiverse.
Okay.
Spider-Verse, yeah. So that's but that's for Netflix, about a family and there's like a robot invasion. It's a bit cool, it's all right. It's quite a nice sort of Pixar-ish type film.
Yeah.
And there was another Netflix film I watched called Stowaway, which was quite interesting about these team of 3 astronauts. They go up into space. They're on a journey to Mars, and then this guy falls out of a cupboard, and it's like you don't know how he got there.
Oh my god!
But the point is that there's 3 of them, and an extra one could basically endanger the mission because of the resources that are available and stuff. So it becomes a bit of a dilemma, and it's quite good actually for what it is. It's like a fairly small scale film, but it's got some nice effects and stuff, and some mad things they have to do. It's like a bit of a survival film, really, but in space. But yeah, I think that's it, really. Like I said, there's some good stuff coming up. Whether or not I'll make it to the cinema for all of it, I really don't know. Last time I looked, though, we've got Black Widow Suicide Squad. That's coming out, and that could actually be good because it's by the guy that did Guardians.
Gunn, isn't it? James Gunn. Yeah.
Guardians of the Galaxy guy. There's Shang-Chi is in August. See, they're all going to start piling up, Marcus. So I can't just sit here and wait because.
Is Multiverse of Madness this year? Next year?
No, not that one. This year we've got Black Widow, Shang-Chi, The Eternals, and the new Spider-Man.
Eternals, that was it. Yeah.
So
okay.
yeah, there's June is in September. The new Bond film is in September. I think there's supposed to be a Ghostbusters film before the end of the year. And also Top Gun Maverick is in November. So
I am curious about Ghostbusters Afterlife because they kind of went quiet for a long time, and then they started being more active again on Twitter and stuff. Yeah. But yeah, I quite like that last trailer. Actually, made me feel a bit quite nice. I thought it was an interesting sort of almost like Afterlife is a great title for it because it almost feels like an epilogue. So you've got Ghostbusters 1 and 2, and then this will be like a little extra story after.
Yeah, cool.
Or the start of a whole new bloody arc. Who knows?
Well, yeah, that's it. Yeah, who knows? All right. Well, I think that'll do. I think that'll do for now. I think we're probably going to be back after once Loki's finished. We'll talk about the whole season. In a bit more detail, spoilery detail maybe, and I'll probably have seen Black Widow by then, I imagine. So I'll be not spoilery about that if you still haven't seen it. Thanks for listening to the Not Watching Podcast, part of the Not Listening Podcast Network, where you can also find the Not Playing Podcast, where we talk about video games, and the Not Listening Podcast, where you can hear Adam and Co talk about all kinds of nonsensical nonsense. You can email us at notwatchingpodcast@gmail.com, or you can tweet out or follow us on Twitter at notwatchingpod. You can find the show notes for all our shows at notlistening.co.uk, and if you like what you've heard here, please do leave us a review. Anyway, that's all for now. Until next time, stay safe out there.